Ladies and gents, what is going on? It's been a while. It's been a while, honestly. But, mate, the main event of UFC 293 has been, in my opinion, the biggest shock or the biggest surprise I've ever seen, probably in UFC history. I mean, historically, we've had incidents where a champion was expected to completely dominate his opponent, the challenger, but it didn't happen. For example, we had GSP and Matt Serra back in 2007, Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm back in UFC 193 in 2015. We've had all these incidents, or even we had Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor. But Sean Strickland beating Adesanya, in my personal opinion, has to be the biggest surprise, the biggest stunner, the biggest shock in UFC history, ladies and gentlemen. How did he do it? How did he do it? I don't know. I don't know, because my expectation going into the fight was that I think Sean Strickland is a decent challenger, but in striking wise, he's nothing in comparison to Adesanya. That was my perspective before the fight. But going into the fight, he systematically broken Adesanya down. I thought Adesanya would have systematically broken Sean Strickland down, but it was the other way around. He systematically, piece by piece, broken Adesanya down using basic fundamentals of striking, boxing, Philly shell. Imagine someone using Philly shell in MMA. How common do you see someone do that? It's very uncommon, very unlikely. Sean Strickland defeated Adesanya with basic boxing fundamentals in the octagon. At a professional level, I think a lot of people think that you need to know all these fancy tricks like ninja tricks to be a successful striker in MMA or in boxing. You don't. You just need your basics, your jab, cross, hook. And Strickland beat Adesanya with jab, cross, hook, honestly. So the question is, where does this really place someone like Israel Adesanya, to be honest? Because he's been dominant for a long time. He's the greatest, if not one of the greatest ever UFC or middleweight champions of all time. Since he won that belt, he went on a tear defending that belt against any opponent that stood in his way. The likes of Jared Cannonier, for example, a complete monster who defeated Sean Strickland. Someone like Robert Whittaker, he took the belt from and then defended the title against Robert Whittaker, defeating the likes of Yoel Romero. How the hell can anybody beat Yoel Romero? Adesanya defeated him, though the fight was boring, but Adesanya still was victorious. And many fighters like Paulo Costa and the likes of Marvin Vittori. So everybody expected that the Sean Strickland fight would be practically similar to the fights that he had against the likes of Vittori or the likes of Paulo Costa. But we were all completely wrong. But yes, what's next for Adesanya? Anyways, that's the point in it of this video. What's next for the Stylebender? In my personal opinion, I don't think there's much in the welterweight division, in the middleweight division for Adesanya. Moving up might be probably a better idea, but again, he's small in comparison to a lot of the light heavyweights. In fact, back in 2021 or late 2020, he fought for the title 205 against Jan Blachowicz, and based on sheer physical strength and size, he was completely dominated in that fight. So what's next for him? He obviously can't go down to welterweight because he's too big. So there's nothing in the middleweight division for him. What's next for the Stylebender? I know this might sound like a controversial point, but I think retirement might be the next best option for him. When you look at it, there's nothing to accomplish. He can't go up to light heavyweight, too small. He can't go down to welterweight, too big. He can't stay in middleweight because he's done everything. He's lost his belt. He's already, in his last 3 fights, he's already lost 2 of his last 3 fights. So things aren't systemically or structurally looking good for Adesanya. The only possible option out there for him, after all his accomplishments, is a retirement, honestly speaking. That's the only thing out there for him. He's done it all. He doesn't need to stay in the UFC, especially the UFC's middleweight division. He could go up. But I think a retirement is literally the best option, the smartest option for the Stylebender. To be honest, some people could make an argument that he made the comeback against Alex Portan Pereira, which he did. But we still remember that he lost the first fight between him and Alex Pereira, and then defeated Pereira the second time, but then lost to Strickland. Nobody going into this fight, before the fight, would have told me that Sean Strickland would have won against Adesanya by decision. Nobody could have told me this. So something is wrong in terms of I don't know, energy levels, weight cutting. Going into this fight, he looked skinnier than he's ever looked. So something must be fundamentally wrong in terms of like his training, like coaches, energy levels, or the fact that he just doesn't give a shit as much as he did back in the day. He's accomplished it all. He's done it all. So yes, Adesanya should definitely retire. He should retire. He's not even young. He's like 34. So he's done it all. So I think, in my personal opinion, after all his accomplishments and the fact that he's basically lost 2 fights in 2 out of 3 fights, I'd definitely say he should retire. That is my personal view, to be honest. Because then what that does is it makes the middleweight division more interesting. Robert Whittaker had been a gatekeeper in that middleweight division for a long time. He can't beat Adesanya, but no one can beat him. But now we've got Dricus du Plessis, who beat Robert Whittaker, and we've got Sean Strickland, who beat Adesanya, who literally beat Adesanya. So what have we got? The only option we've got is making a fight between du Plessis and a current undisputed UFC middleweight champion in Sean Strickland. That's the only fight I see, to be honest. I don't believe that a rematch would be any different. I don't believe that a rematch between Adesanya and Sean Strickland would be any different. I think the outcome would be practically the same, to be honest. Unless Adesanya makes huge changes going into that fight. But honestly, how things are looking, I think if there was a rematch, I think Sean Strickland probably beat him again, probably knock him out, to be honest. That's what I think. So personally, I wouldn't recommend a rematch, to be honest. I think he probably might get embarrassed. Alex Pereira, you could come down, bro, and beat Sean Strickland. You already knocked him out anyways. If he's smart, he probably could do that. But I think he'd probably gonna stay in. He would probably stay in light heavyweight, to be honest. He's too good. Ladies and gentlemen, but what are your thoughts on the fight between Adesanya and Alex Pereira? It was it was a disappointing fight, mate. You could argue it was a disappointing fight. We weren't expecting the outcome. The outcome was certainly not what we was all expecting. We was expecting that the last Stylebender will go in and completely dominate that fight. But that's not what happened, did it? That's not what happened. What happened was Sean Strickland used basic fundamentals of striking to defeat a complex striker like the last Stylebender, Israel Adesanya. Systematically broke him down piece by piece. Fundamental defense, striking, jab, cross, simple as that. And he became the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. Bear in mind, he actually lost his last fight, if I'm not mistaken. And he lost to the main guys like someone like Jared Cannonier and many Alex Pereira. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would definitely like your opinions in the comment sections. Who do you think should be the next challenger of the middleweight division? Should it be Adesanya or should it be Dricus du Plessis? Make sure to smash the like button down below, comment, and subscribe as well to this channel with your notification bells on, and I would incredibly appreciate that, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.